Chapter 9, Zeta Reticuli, Transformation and Awakening. They seek the very depth of the soul. They seek communion. Whitley Strieber. The beginning of the Zeta Reticuli civilization can be traced back in time to its inception of the apex planet in the Lyran system by the founders. There is the unique and poignant development that has significant relevance to the evolution of planet Earth. The apex planet allowed polarity, expressed through extreme individualization, to tear them apart. Their technological evolution occurred rapidly, surpassing their spiritual development, which prevented them from coexisting peacefully in their world. This imbalance in energy caused the virtual destruction of the apex planet. From the view of an observer in space, the apex world was obliterated. From the point of view of the apex inhabitants, a different story occurred. The apex planet became extremely toxic. Pollution and high-level radiation made the planet's surface uninhabitable. The Apexians who survived the catastrophe secluded themselves underground. It was imperative that integration occur within this new underground society, lest the cycle of destruction recreate itself. Recognizing its importance, they decided to force integration or fusion through a total restructuring of their reality. As the apex planet approached its destruction, mentality and intellect were so highly developed that it was becoming noticeable in the physical forms of the Apexians. The craniums had increased in size significantly over very few generations. Natural childbirth became less and less successful because the craniums were not passing easily through the birth canal. The females simply could not adapt to the rapidity of cranial growth. Anticipating what may be a species crisis, genetic engineers began learning cloning techniques which could eventually replace the birth process. For the Apexians, this move saved their species, for after the planet's surface became uninhabitable, the Apexians found themselves sterile. Once they realized that they were sterile, the Apexians decided to use it to their advantage. They no longer wanted the type of civilization they once had. They wanted to begin anew. Thus, they steadfastly decided to rigidly control the genetics of their future society. Genetic engineers began work on the development of their new race. This race, they believed, would be an integrated aspect of their past. The first priority was to genetically alter the brain structure to affect emotional expression. They shunned their past expression of passion and chaos. They now wanted order. Their brains were thus altered to output a consistent chemical response to external stimuli. They achieved detachment from their ego structure. Over generations of neurochemical manipulation, the Apexians became a group mind. The individualistic expression they were once extremely proud of were now gone. The combination of planetary radiation and the effects of their cloning began to produce a race with little physical variance from one person to another. In order to utilize the planet's underground environment more efficiently, their bodies were created smaller in stature. In adaptation to the absence of ultraviolet light and natural sunlight, their eyes began to respond to different frequencies of the visual spectrum. Their pupils mutated to cover the entire eye, and the eyes enlarged to allow more surface space for gathering light. In response to the lack of fresh food, their bodies eventually adapted to the absorption of certain frequencies of light as nourishment. Their skin became photothermic and photovoltaic, sensitive to light sources in the underground caverns. Salvaged plants and luminiferous underground minerals aided in their nourishment. Many of their organs, such as those of the digestive and reproductive system, thus began to atrophy. The transformation they underwent touched every aspect of their being. A new civilization began to emerge. The force and vibration of the Apexians' previous atomic blast eventually folded the space surrounding the apex planet, and they emerged on the other side of a dimensional doorway. During the underground seclusion, which lasted thousands of years, the Apexians had no idea that their planet had changed its position in time and space. It was not until they emerged onto the planet's surface generations later that they found the star field had shifted dramatically. It was then that they knew to the extent of their actions. The apex planet had shifted its position, relative to time and space in the cosmos. It now existed slightly off in dimension compared to the worlds they were familiar with. To understand what had occurred and use the knowledge of their benefit, they began to master the science of folding time and space. The day they finally emerged onto the planet's surface once again, they had become a new species. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, they had managed to produce transformation from destruction. They were no longer Apexians. They now assumed a new identity, that of one people reflecting the whole. From the Earth point of view, these one people can now be called the Zeta Reticuli. Their planet, through its shift in dimension, inserted itself into the vicinity of Zeta Reticuli 1 and Zeta Reticuli 2 into the Reticulum Rhomboidalus star system. From that base, they began re-establishing their connection with the founders of life. To this day, they continue to carry out the wishes of the founders for galactic evolution. What they are just beginning to realize is that they are carrying out their own evolution as well. Today, the Zeta Reticuli require a way to strengthen their genetic line in order to create a future for their race. After generations of cloning using the same genetic material, they become severely inbred and stagnant in their evolutionary growth. Their race is dying, but their oversoul wishes to continue incarnating in physicality. They are deliberately keeping themselves from transitioning to fifth density in order to leave behind a seed of themselves that can genetically continue to reproduce. This will aid the galactic whole in its evolution. Recognizing their predicament, they've called out to the founders. The founders introduced the reticuli to a diverse planet that genetically possessed a gene pool for many human-type species as far back as the inception of the Lyran races. Instead of the reticuli going from civilization to civilization gathering genetic material, they could now get into one place, and this planet is Earth. The reticuli were primarily attracted to Earth in the 1940s when the planet began to possess the technology to self-destruct. They are quite aware that their past represents a future possibility for Earth. Because of their ability to travel through time, they could have gathered genetic material from any time in Earth past. However, they needed genetic material from a period of Earth history when civilization stands on the brink of destruction and transformation. This will aid them in their own integrative process. In a sense, it is their way of changing their past. By interacting with present-day Earth, they heal their past and change their future. Today on Earth, they carry out this genetic program. Since this planet has not yet understood or embraced the idea of soul choice, most of the individuals who are participants in this genetic program consider themselves victims. There are thousands of stories of terrorized abductees who are plagued by recurring experiences of extraterrestrials who snatch them from their warm beds. Experiences of terror occur because humanity is not yet willing to face its own shadow, which is reflected in the mirror that the reticuli represent. The reticuli primarily seek specific human characteristics that they bred out of their race eons ago. One such characteristic is a variability of reaction to external stimuli. To relearn this, they must sample and study human neurochemical reactions to a myriad of stimuli. Their most common method of studying this neurochemical secretion is by the implantation of an organic probe. These probes are inserted into the head of the abductee through either the nose, eyes, or ear cavity. These probes absorb and catalog neurochemical data and are removed periodically for study and then reinserted. Should an individual die, the organic probe can be naturally absorbed by the body. Not only are they seeking biological information from humans, but they are also seeking emotional learning as well. It has been eons since they parented children. The human nurturing ability is a fascination to them. As they begin altering their neurochemical structures, they will once again be capable to respond maternally to their progeny. This is one of the primary reasons why women are abducted and asked to hold hybrid children. These human females are helping to reawaken the maternal and procreational instincts of the Zeta Reticuli. Humanity is not only helping them, they are playing a vital role for Earth as well. The founders are well aware that Earth's humanity must integrate itself on several levels, or the scenario of conflict will continue. The reticuli reflect to the human race one of the most fundamental ideas that it is denied: unity. Humans reflect to the reticuli their own individuality, which terrifies them. If the gap created by humanity's fears can be bridged, transformation will occur in a most profound way. The reticuli are presently acquiring genetic material from volunteers who have, on a soul level beyond the ego, agreed to be part of the awakening of the Earth and the birth of new civilization. At this stage of the game, fear is still needed on the part of the abductees. On Earth, fear is a primary obstacle to growth. If humanity can move through fear, it will achieve many goals that presently seem out of reach. It will be done through awareness, not through the validation of victimhood. The reticuli need to confront their fear as well, which they still deny, and move through it. Without the fear, growth would be minimal. Sometimes the greatest barriers produce the greatest rewards. One of these rewards is the creation of a new hybrid race who possess the integrated qualities of the Zeta Reticuli and the Earth human. They will be unified and diverse. They will be rich with humor and fluid with their emotions. Most of all, they will be the unconditional, loving heralds who lead us back to the source of all.